This is my rule.
My eyes are on the speaker.
Tell me why. Because that looks fantastic.
Excellent. So if you go and go to table 6.
Sure.
Yeah, look. Hello, Dan.
It's the summer term at St Edward's, and Form 9-2 are about to start a history lesson with former Teacher of the Year David Torn. Last September, Form 9-2 was seen as one of the toughest classes in the school to teach. But had they met their match?
Top button undone.
John Bailey was there on their very first day. And he saw David impose a regime of tough rules and sanctions, a programme you can see on the Teachers TV website.
While I'm positioning you, I would expect none of you to be talking, and I'm physically going to show you where to sit, all right? The label you were given in 8-2 is the worst class in Year 8. That's the label you had. I'm going to throw it away. That's actually not true. From day one, I want them to know who's in charge of the classroom, and it's me. If you forget your book once, I'll make a note. If you forget your book twice, detention, and then detention every time after that. I do not press the reset button. For an academic lesson, I would appreciate it if you remained in your seat. OK? So far, any unreasonable things?
No.
OK, thank you.
But has David's tough love approach had the desired effect? 9 months later, Bailey is back to find the challenging behaviour gone. So what exactly has David Torn done to turn 9-2 around?
All that framework for behaviour is there, and look, I see the bags on the floor. And so all the stuff that you might have had to nag them about when we first came across them, that's gone.
They've learned how to come in and work with each other, I suppose, and the expectation of settling down is there. It's taken a long time to get there.
Yeah, OK, but they're coming along.
Let's have your attention, guys.
Now their behaviour is sorted, David's main aim is to develop the students' conversational skills.
You've put a lot of hard work into the Holocaust, and this is effectively our last lesson on the Holocaust. Big thing you've been doing recently is really looking at the idea of interpretation. Was Hitler solely responsible for the Holocaust? How far was he responsible? And the skill of interpretation in history is not necessarily a very easy one. It's a high-level skill. OK? What I'm aiming to do today by the end of the lesson, or aiming to complement really, is to develop your ability to argue.
What I'd like about this objective is the objective separates the skill from the context. So we're saying, OK, what we're doing this lesson is going to make you better arguers, and the context in which we're doing it is using our knowledge of the Holocaust. Right. Is that the way you like setting objectives?
It is, because I would like them to be able to transfer that skill. There are times you've got to do specifically history objectives, but the more global, the better. So generally, that's what I do. Sam, can you stand up, please? And I want the rest of you to really support him. 1 minute, without stopping, please. Simply, the Holocaust.
Holocaust was decided the Wannsee Conference, and it was the final solution, decided to exterminate any Jew they could get their hands on. Really cruel what they did. They built concentration camps, work camps, and Jews were mistreated, anti-Semitic behaviour, kicked, punched, and sent to death if they weren't worthy of work. But I don't think Hitler's completely responsible for the Holocaust, because other people have done such. So, yeah.
OK, excellent. Round of applause, please. Really, because I'll tell you why. Starting off is very, very hard. You know, I've just put him on the spot, and he's actually done very well.
This is powerful and dramatic. First of all, just why are you doing it?
The class you've got there are a class that don't always necessarily encourage each other. This is a powerful way of getting them to support him, but also getting him involved in an exposition where he's on his own and he's having to think and use his initiative and think about what he's learnt. It's a bit of a risk in a sense. So it's really an icebreaker, but it's also an attempt to begin a conversation, I suppose.
OK, you're encouraging independence, you're encouraging concentration, the other children are listening and learning. I think you're kind of sending a message that this is a bit edgy, this room, because any moment you might stand up and be asked to do some stuff.
Yeah. What's the purpose of me doing this? Why am I asking you to say, right, give me that talking in 1 minute? Let's see, Tiffany, why do you think I'm doing that?
See how much we know.
OK, so it's a test on knowledge, perhaps. What else do you think?
We've learnt over the weeks.
OK, see what you learned, consolidate your knowledge. Anything else? Is it just for tests? Is it just for knowledge? What was actually... Yeah, Adam.
Your speaking skills.
Excellent. Tell me a bit more. Really good. A bit more.
How to present yourself, how to think on the spot and stuff like that.
Fantastic. Your ability to argue, right, and extend that, what we call exposition.
When you said, tell me a bit more, give me a bit more, and I notice you habitually doing that at the end of student presentations.
Yeah.
What's good about asking questions in that way?
If you just accept what they've said, that's fine, but they're often going to only give you what they expect that you want. So you're stretching that kind of exposition, if you like. You're looking to get them to reach their potential for that question.
If you were going to give me some advice on how long I should wait after a student's done the first go at a question, what would your answer be?
Well, I think you should have a little rhyme in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got to learn to wait some more. 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to let the blighters wait.
Very good.
And then answer.
OK, and we can put in stuff like take your time, ask a friend, but I think there's a bit more to come.
Yeah, OK.
OK, that's really good.
First of all, you're going to need to get in pairs. We're going to play a game of what's called history tennis. One person's going to be A and one's going to be B, OK? A is going to argue that Hitler was responsible for the Holocaust. And A will need to come up with as many reasons, once again, without their note. After a minute, B will then respond, but B will talk about all the other factors, Nazi soldiers, German people, allies, etc. And the idea behind this is to see, once again, to stretch you even more now, to think, can you keep an argument going, but also, can you listen to an argument and can you respond? OK, where you go, please.
Hitler wouldn't have been able to done what he done without the Nazi leaders and the teachers showing the race studies.
Also, there are many other reasons, like the German people, where they, some of them were angered from like the Treaty of Versailles when they had so much that was lost.
I think Hitler wasn't responsible for the Holocaust because in the museum it said that the soldiers weren't punished if they didn't want to fight.
Will you expect them to be doing activities like this most lessons?
Oh, certainly, yeah. If a student is not prepared or a bit worried about talking in front of the class, they can talk to their friend. Secondly, they can check each other in a nice way and see if they're right or wrong. They're listening to each other. They're building up confidence. They're thinking, they're active.
All the other soldiers, he couldn't have done it his own, could he? But he was at high authority, and he sent all the orders.
And also, sorry, they're also learning the art of talking. In your groups, after 2 minutes, you're going to tell me what we'd need to have in any argument, whether it's English, history, what makes a convincing argument.
Some people were saying, like, they killed them, but why? They weren't backing up what they were saying. And I think that's why we weren't as strong as we could have been.
And you've got to plan what you've got to say beforehand, so planning's good.
You've got a pretty wide band of ability in this classroom. Just tell me what that range of ability is.
Well, you've got from level 4 to level 7 or 8. So if you look at intellectual ability, you're looking at a very wide range. So when I designed these groups, I had to do it very carefully and make sure we had various characters in the group that were going to work together.
What are the criteria there?
One is not equal ability, varied ability, social aptitude as well. If you're getting all friends together, that you're guaranteed they're not going to work, there's no point in putting them in a group. So people that are confident to talk and people that are not confident to talk, which need to be differentiated for as well. You are collectively going to give Letitia what we call the criteria, i.e. the rules for success of a convincing argument. Now, I've started you off, so if Letitia, you write down a very clear point. Letitia, I want you to take control. I want you to choose hands. No, shh, shh.
You can't really know what you're doing if you don't plan it first, like beforehand. Just like footballers, like they need to like practice. They can't be just like do it on the day.
So you have, that's really good. You have, today I'm very impressed with you. You have to have a clear strategy. You've got to know what you're going to argue, yeah? OK.
Now, in most classrooms I go into these days, one of the things I'm seeing on the wall all the time, Ofsted grade levels, but lo and behold, something different's going on here. Can you talk me through what that different thing is and why you're doing it?
Our philosophy in our department is they they don't need to know the levels. It's far more worthwhile that they know what to do and how to improve precisely, and then they can demonstrate they can do it, than to say, I'm a level 5.7 on Monday and by Wednesday I'll be a level 5.8, because it means absolutely nothing.
And like he's the one who made in schools, made the teachers have to humiliate the Jews, and he wrote a book about Mein Kampf about it as well. And even though people already didn't like the Jews, he made it worse for them, and like stopped them from being able to go to public places and shops and other things like that.
OK, right, good. Stop there. That's really good. Look at the criteria again, guys. Look at the criteria, right? What things did Tiffany do that meets that criteria? Sam?
She was definitely explaining her point, giving examples and stuff like that.
How do you know she was explaining her point? How do you know that?
Because she was, she didn't just say, like, that Hitler was restricting Jews, she was saying where, like, parks, public places, restaurants.
She gave examples. Excellent. They know what makes a good answer, or makes a good response, or makes a good piece of writing. And I'm comfortable they know it. And I'm happy just to push them on what to do next. You're starting to gain confidence, and what you're doing as a class and as individuals, you're saying, this happened, this happened. You're slowly adding more bits on, which is good. So Ashley, you know, you were saying that the evidence that Adam gave was that he said it wasn't just Hitler, it was this and that. How could you yourself, you know, in terms of, Ashley, in terms of actually extending your own exposition, i.e. your own speaking skills, what could you do yourself to develop what you're saying?
That, like, it weren't just like the guards and everything doing it. It was like kids were being taught in schools by the teachers. They're being told by their parents that the Jews were subhuman. So
you're giving more evidence, you're giving more, and it might be confidence, slowly you're explaining it, right? So well done.
If you give people numeric feedback, the boffins just take it for granted and don't bother to read any comments that you've written. Those with poor remarks are discouraged. And it turns out that hardly anybody reads what the teacher's written or listens to it. But if you give verbal feedback or written feedback, it's as though you're having a discussion with the child and about how to improve and what to do next.
Georgina, all year you've worked fantastically, and I mean that. You've been a star. If you do all these things, what is the reward that you get?
Good grades.
You could get good grades. You will do well at school. What else are you going to get out of this? Adam, last word?
It helps you out everywhere. It's just basic life skills. OK,
excellent. If you want to do well, you have to develop the skills and the ability, according to the criteria, not just for exam grades, but to be the best that you can. OK, what's your next target for this lot? My next target for these lot is to up their ambition and realising they can be the best. At the start, they were proud of underachieving and proud of being labelled in a negative fashion. It's taken a very long time and a really lot of hard work. They're now gradually being proud of being labelled a good class and doing well. And so the sense of pride is there and the sense of wanting to achieve is there.